October 21st, 2018. 1 o'clock ticks over at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, and today is race day. Under clear Texas skies, 111,580 spectators take their spot around the 5.5 kilometre track, ready to watch the 18th of 21 races this season. A race where a four-time world champ looks to make it 5 unless Maranello can stop them. 20 Formula One drivers and cars line the front straight of Coda for the 7th time in history, waiting to attack the first of 56 laps. In pole position sits championship leader Lewis Hamilton in his famous 44 Silver Arrow, eyeing his first attempt at claiming title number 5. He sits on the super soft Pirelli. Second place sits Iceman Kimi Raikkonen, who has already been moved on from Ferrari after this season. Kimi starts on ultra softs as he looks to end his 113 race winless streak before moving to Sauber. American adopted Aussie Daniel Ricciardo starts 4th, looking to turn his season around after 6 DNFs to date. Sebastian Vettel starts the race in 5th, needing to stay within 8 points of Lewis to keep the title alive going into Mexico. If Lewis wins, Seb can't finish any lower than 2nd place. In recent years, Ferrari has been classed as something of a laughingstock in Formula One when it comes to strategy and making decisions under pressure. Some examples include Australia 2025 pitting for slicks on an increasingly wet track as competitors stopped for inters, losing ground. Zandvoort 2025 pitting Charles to cover a bold Antonelli undercut, which ended in them being in a battle they didn't need to be in and ultimately both retiring from the race. Monaco 2022, Charles crashed in qualifying. The team elected not to change the gearbox, which resulted in a do not start. These are a handful of examples from recent years that have painted Maranello as an underwhelming, underachieving, and undesirable team to follow. The famous meme with Ferrari personnel on the pit wall with clown makeup on gets rolled out on social media after every race with even a minor infraction. However, this wasn't always the case. Enzo Ferrari had aspirations for his team to be the ultimate driver for innovation and a way to achieve greatness, with the eventual goal to be the most successful and iconic team in motorsport history. Ferrari is statistically the most successful team in Formula One history, with the most drivers and constructors championships, along with the most Grand Prix victories. So Enzo got that right. The word iconic can mean widely known and acknowledged, especially for distinctive excellence. Ferrari has been in the sport since 1950, helping build Formula One since day one. They are the most recognisable, turning up every year dressed in red, and from 1950 to 2010, they built their legacy and stamped their name as the iconic Formula One team. This icon status was built on those championships won, from Ascari to Schumacher to Kimi Raikkonen, and championships bitter losses from Massa to Alonso. Ferrari was a powerhouse that could do no wrong and turned up competitive every race with the full force of the Tifosi behind them. The word icon can also mean someone once prominent, a has-been. Ferrari has been iconic for the wrong reasons in the last 15 years, still appealing enough to pull from the top of the driver pool. Drivers like Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton turn to the team with the prancing horse for hope and assurance. But the icon hasn't won a Constructors' Championship in 17 years and a Drivers' Championship in 18 years. The icon has turned. That same team is now more connected to clown memes and AI-generated photos of sad drivers than success. All 20 cars sit in their spots looking at the steep incline to turn 1. The lights go out and it's game on. Kimi Raikkonen gets the jump and leads into turn 1, exactly as Ferrari had hoped with his ultra-soft tyres. Vettel runs wide exiting turn 1 and forces his way back on track. As the cars negotiate the S's for the first time, smoke fills the air as Lance Stroll sticks his nose on the inside of Alonso and both cars spin out of contention. Heading down the back straight, cars touch 340 km an hour as Vettel pulls alongside the inside and passes Ricciardo for P4, before outbraking himself into turn 11 left-hander. This gives Ricciardo the outside line into turn 12. Daniel holds firm on the outside. Seb understeers into the Red Bull and wheel-to-wheel contact ensues. Vettel pirouettes on the spot and drops to 15th on the road. Ferrari-bound Charles Leclerc, running behind this action, gets taken out by Grosjean entering the braking zone of turn 11. These two, plus Alonso and Stroll, all enter the pits at the end of the first lap for repairs. After lap 2, Kimi has a 2.3 second lead and Vettel is wasting little time in his comeback efforts, passing Stoffel Vandoorne for 13th place at turn 11, then Brendan Hartley at the same spot a lap later. Seb only has to wait 3 more corners before slicing down the inside of Sergei Sorokin for 11th place. Grosjean becomes the first retiree of the race on lap 5 due to damage after the lap 1 incident with Leclerc. Kimi can be heard on the radio already complaining about his ultra-soft tyres in the Texas heat as blisters form easily. Seb makes his way into the points passing K-Mag into turn 1, then a lap later makes light work of Perez's Force India to take 9th place. Lance Stroll gets handed a drive-through penalty for his lap 1 contact with Alonso as the latter retires due to side pod damage from the same incident. Verstappen, who started 18th in this race, has carved his way into the top 10 early, mostly due to lap 1 incidents for 6 drivers ahead as he flies past Hulk down the back straight with the aid of DRS. Max now sits 5th in this race. With one Red Bull going forward, the other has stopped. Ricciardo's Renault engine has let go, leading to his 7th retirement of the season. Ricciardo was already Renault bound and was looking to end his tenure with Red Bull on a high at one of his favourite places to be. Just before the VSC is called to retrieve the stricken RB14, Vettel makes another move, passing Carlos Sainz's Renault for 6th. Under the first lap of VSC, no main contenders take the cheap pit stop, likely due to tyre wear and most teams electing for a one-stop. Lap 2 of the VSC and Mercedes rolls the dice as Hamilton pits for a set of softs. Pirelli's Lewis will be hoping to take to the end. Immediately, Crofty and Brundle question Ferrari's decision not to at least pit one car, electing to keep both cars on a strict one-stop strategy. The track goes green as Hulk and Seb enter the back straight. Vettel lines himself to slipstream Nico all the way down to turn 11 and take 5th place. Vettel in his SF71H now sits 9.7 seconds behind 4th place Max, as Bottas in 3rd is told to move over for Hamilton as he approaches the rear of the Finn 77 Merc. Lewis sets a new fastest lap of 1:38.8 on lap 14 as he catches and passes his teammate. The mid-pack battle has developed into Renault vs Force India, the former 6th and 7th and the latter 8th and 9th. Perez in 9th is pleading with the team to be allowed free passage to attack Renault, but the pink team denies their driver. Lap 19 and Lewis finds himself with DRS range of Kimi Raikkonen. Lewis, having already pitted for an alternate set of tyres, has met requirements. Kimi is yet to do so. Despite Lewis's benefit, he is eager to pass as he dummies a move to the apex of turn 1. Kimi is awake to it and shuts the door, reassuring Lewis this won't be easy. Raikkonen nails the complex S's section to enter the back straight 8 tenths ahead of car 44, who lost time in the dirty air. Although Hamilton has DRS, 8 tenths is too much of a deficit to overcome. As the leaders battle, their lap times have dropped into the 142s, some 3 to 4 seconds off peak pace. Bottas, Verstappen and Vettel are closing their advantage and are yet to stop. One lap later and Lewis is much closer down the back straight. His DRS advantage forces Kimi to the inside dirty line entering turn 11 to hold the lead. Lewis goes back to the racing line and exits the corner with more speed. The W09 ranges alongside the Ferrari entering turn 12, attempting the same move Ricciardo tried on Kimi's teammate on lap 1 that ended in disaster for Sebastian Vettel. Kimi floats wide mid-corner, forcing Hamilton to shy away from the attempt. The entry to turn 16 is naturally wide, welcoming an inside move. Kimi on this occasion preempts a move and takes a narrow line. Hamilton, welcoming this defense, elects the racing line and again leaves the corner with peak speed and again ranges alongside the 7 entering turn 17. Lewis stays wide of the Ferrari and gains on the Ferrari's left rear wheel as the clean air allows the downforce to stay engaged. Kimi aero blocks the Mercedes as he moves wide of the line and Lewis is again forced to back out of the move. Ferrari calls their man in, deciding the soft tyre will be adequate to the end. Kimi's defense held Lewis up 8 seconds as Bottas is only 1.1 seconds behind, Max a further 2.4 back, and Vettel went from 20 seconds behind the lead to only 12. Kimi's stop is 2.3 seconds and returns to the track 5th, 6.5 seconds behind his teammate. Hamilton, now in clean air, immediately sets a purple first sector, demonstrating the pace the W09 has in clean air and the difficulties of passing. Max Verstappen takes to the pits a lap later, swapping his softs for super softs. Mercedes attempts to cover off the undercut and races Max at pit exit, but Red Bull gets Verstappen the spot in the pit lane. Kimi moves the fastest lap marginally with another 138.8 as he brings his tyres in gently. Ferrari assuming Hamilton will have to pit again. Vettel moves over for Kimi as he approaches, not to hold either driver up. Raikkonen now 17.4 seconds behind Lewis. Sebastian Vettel is running 2.8 seconds slower than his teammate per lap as Ferrari delays his stop for the best quality tyres at the end in case of a late safety car. Max catches and passes Seb entering turn 17 as Vettel finally pits for soft Pirelli P0s in 3.2 seconds. Vettel returns to the track 43 seconds behind his title rival, who sits in championship elect position. Slow motion camera shots show the state of Lewis Hamilton's tyres with blisters forming on the rears with 24 laps remaining. The gap stays stagnant at 17 seconds, and Kimi is still babysitting his tyres. Charles Leclerc is called into the pits to become the fourth retirement, as Hamilton's tyres are starting to slow down as he is now running 141s, 1.6 seconds slower than the Ferrari. Sauber's Fred Vasseur is seen talking to Sauber's Charles Leclerc after the Monaco native exits his car. With 20 laps remaining, Kimi cuts the deficit to 9.1 seconds with Seb 20 seconds further back, having cut 13 seconds off Hamilton this stint. Lewis pits on lap 38 for another set of softs. The 44 returns to the track in fourth, 5 seconds behind his teammate and 3 seconds ahead of title rival Seb. Lewis immediately sets a new fastest lap and in fact a new lap record with a 1:37.3 and is now 9 seconds off the lead with 15 laps to go. With Lewis Hamilton catching Max Verstappen, the gap is down to 5.5 seconds and rapidly reducing. Martin Brundle in commentary estimates that his Hamilton vs Verstappen battle will be a precursor of things to come. Hamilton cuts Max to 4 seconds and Kimi ahead completes a personal best as he sees the silver arrow approach. Further back in the pack, Vettel is approaching Bottas as he desperately searches for more points in hopes of a miracle. He is in the Mercedes DRS but not close enough to effect a move. As lap 50 begins, the top three condense as Kimi holds a 1.3 second lead over Max, with Lewis at 0.9 of a second entering turn 1. 2 laps later, Max breaks into Kimi's DRS but enters the back straight at 9 tenths. Max's DRS does little but help keep Lewis behind for another lap. Both the Red Bull and Mercedes have DRS on the pit straight as they start lap 53. Hamilton remains in the Red Bull's DRS to start the back straight but runs wide entering turn 11, nullifying any potential of an overtake. Max, however, makes an unforced error braking late into turn 12 and running wide, giving Lewis the same run he had on Kimi 25 laps prior. Lewis ranges alongside Max but doesn't even attempt an outside move. He straightaway elects for a classic crisscross manoeuvre, exiting turn 14 in overdrive as he again gets fully alongside Max entering turn 15, getting the racing line. With Max on the inside having a tight, compromised exit, Lewis crisscrosses again and enters 16 on the outside of Max, trying the exact same move he did on Kimi. Max holding the inside line tight, Lewis drives on the outside and finds 53 laps of Pirelli tyre rubber discarded and with it a complete lack of grip. Lewis runs completely off track and falls 2 seconds behind Max. This battle has given Kimi a 2-second lead to breathe with only a few laps remaining. Lap 55, Sebastian Vettel has found Valtteri's gearbox on the back straight. Bottas defends hard as fourth spot for Seb keeps the championship alive to Mexico. Vettel has enough pace to almost clear Valtteri on the straight, but not quite, as Bottas lunges back ahead under brakes. Too deep, however, as the 77 goes completely off track and collects debris from the lap 1 incident between Leclerc and Grosjean. Kimi Raikkonen completes lap 6 and with it breaks the record for the longest gap between race wins, 113 races since his 2013 win in Australia, or 2,044 days. Max Verstappen comes home second with just enough pace to hold off a fast-finishing Lewis Hamilton. Vettel's fourth place keeps the championship open to Mexico. Ferrari won this race on a brave strategic call. They got Seb into a championship contending position on that same brave call. Ferrari on this day showed their traditional iconic status, fast, fearless and in control. Kimi Raikkonen won 21 races in his career, 10 in Maranello, and is to date the last Ferrari world champion. This win was Kimi's only in his second stint at Ferrari. Kimi Iceman Raikkonen is a fan favourite driver for his character more than his driving. His famous quotes from "gloves and steering wheel" to "I was having a shit," or even "leave me alone, I know what I'm doing," left a mark on Formula One, some literally, and won an enormous fan base. Kimi saw both sides of Ferrari's iconic nature, the tail end of their dominant era in his first stint, and the increasingly clumsy red-faced Ferrari of the second stint. But only one question remains. Can Ferrari go from has-been back to distinctive excellence?
All right. Welcome to another episode of Box Banter. Another retro round, in fact.
My favourite.
Yeah, you prefer the retro rounds over the race week analysis?
They calm me down.
Yeah.
They don't roll me up.
Well, you make these for yourself, really, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. You treat yourself.
I'm just doing it because
F1 history.
No one else will.
Hey, I appreciate it, and I'm sure that many other people do as well.
I'm glad. Gives me a chance to do a little deep dive and learn
all
something.
7 of them.
Yep, 7. Yeah, well, you're being nice. Nice. Stop
Actually,
it.
to be fair, the retro rounds have been
some of the best. Yeah,
some of the best most
performing.
Viewed video so far. So yeah, we'll as long as you're happy to keep smashing them out, we'll keep rolling them out.
I've got to do something. Got to do something in this world. Got to contribute in some way. This is my contribution.
Well done on it too, by the way. I thought it was
pretty good. You liked it?
Yeah, one of your best for sure. We're
still learning.
Your grammar needs a lot of improving.
Hey, that's Chris's part.
Yeah.
I'll just smash it together and then he refines.
Oh yeah, a lot of refining is needed. I tell you that. So why this race? And by this race, I mean the 2018
US Grand Prix.
Grand Prix. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to think. Yeah, I've done a lot on Aussies, so try to move away from the Aussies a little bit.
What bias? What Australian bias?
Exactly. I don't know.
We would never.
I don't know what you're talking about. And then, who would you say is probably one of the most popular drivers of the last 20 years?
Daniel Ricciardo.
Exactly. And I can't do him.
Yeah,
I've done him.
We've done too much Ricciardo content. You're right. Kimi, the Iceman Raikkonen, is definitely a firm fan favourite.
Yeah, that's where I learned as well.
A lot of personality, it is kind of ironic when you think about Kimi. Saying that he's someone that has a big personality on the grid, but he was a man who said very little
and very monotone about it.
Yeah.
It's funny. He's got a lot of character and personality.
Unless he had like 20 beers in him.
Yeah.
Then he let it all out.
Yeah. Well, the Monaco pictures is something I forgot to bring up in the retelling. I had that in the back of my head as well. Like, that's such a Kimi thing.
Yeah.
The Monaco on the yacht mid-race after his car, whatever happened. But, that was effectively it. Something for the people. Kimi Raikkonen's clickbait, you see.
So it started off with Kimi Raikkonen, and then it sort of veered into Ferrari's Clown Fest.
So okay. Well, if you want the full rundown on my mind.
Well, I like a little behind the scenes into how your mind works because.
Well, yeah. So
often it makes no sense to me, and I'm like,
right.
what the fuck is this going on?
So how do you? So I was like, radio. Who's a popular driver? What's something people might want to know about, or who's someone people might want to know about, and clickbait. Let's get the clicks. Put Kimi Raikkonen in the title. People might click on that. So, all right, Kimi Raikkonen. What's his last wins? A natural place to go.
This was his final win.
This is his final win in Formula One. Yeah.
Right.
So it's a natural place to go. Plus, a bit more recent. I feel like a lot of our fans are our age.
Yeah.
So, we've said openly we've been watching for about that sort of 12 to 15 years range. So, pick one.
He's in that bracket.
He's in that bracket. Yep. So pick that one and then watch the race. And it was actually a good race. 2018 US Grand Prix. I was watching, I'm like, okay, I'm actually entertained. And a lot of the times, not so much entertained,
Especially in that era.
2018 Monaco was like a tough watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Caesars Palace race is so long ago, it was a bit of a tough watch. So this one was actually a delight. I almost got the popcorn in, almost forgot to write it down. I was having such a good time.
Well, yeah, right. It is that modern era of F1 where things started to shift and they really had honed it, right? They knew how to market it, how to sell it. Yeah. The graphics, the commentary, everything feels
right.
Yeah.
And even still, like in the retelling, Seb spun on lap 115th, carved his way back to 4th. So the cars could pass. Not so affected by dirty air, even in that era, even though it was the previous gen and this new regs were meant to do away with the dirty air, and it's just become the worst it's ever been.
Yep.
But then when I was watching the race, I'm like, okay, so Kimi won it with Ferrari actually pulling their finger out and having a good strategic race.
And it seems like they won it through strategy and not so much pace.
Yeah. I mean, Kimi had 2 laps there where he had to just, like, that was probably unlocking the race. 2 laps where he held Lewis up 8 seconds unlocked their strategy. He had to do that on track to make their strategy work, and it did. And then not only did it work for Kimi, it worked for Seb to keep him in the championship fight, which probably only went to Mexico.
Yeah.
But they had to do it. All you need to do is extend as long as you can that fight. But that's what I learned watching it. I was like, wow, Ferrari stuck to their guns. We see now, VSC comes out, everyone's almost just natural instincts of we're going to pit. And they didn't. And neither car. Mercedes took a 50-50 punt, pit one, see what happens. Ferrari held strong, and it got them the win, and it got Seb probably the most he could have achieved from that race after his lap 1 spin.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting point that you bring up about Ferrari strategy, because they're probably more famous for their lack of.
Yeah.
But that's a glimmer
lack of
it.
execution.
Yeah, but that race there is a glimmer of it working out for them. And obviously a more recent example of that would be Monaco 2024. Sorry, not Monaco, Monza.
Yeah.
Where almost by accident they looked like legends by extending. Yeah. The
and they were forced to make that hand. It was an
unintentional
win-win situation where, a lose-lose. It was a lose-lose situation. Whatever I'm trying to say. Because if they pitted, which they should have.
Well, hang on. What are you trying to say?
I don't know.
Now I'm confused. Is it a win-win or is it a lose-lose?
But just disregard.
Or is it a win-lose?
Chris, edit that part out. Disregard.
Okay.
If they pitted in that race, they go third, fourth anyway.
Yeah.
If they stay out and the tyres die, they go third, fourth anyway. So it's worth the risk, and the tyres held on.
So sounds like a win-win.
Yeah. Call it that. Call it a win-win.
Yeah.
Because you could do no wrong at that point. So they chose the track position and it held on. And they probably only did that because it's Monza. It's like if they don't win, they lose there. There's no point coming second. There's no point coming third.
No one remembers or cares.
They went for the win and it pulled off. So even that, and I was going to note that as a positive, but I'm like, that was a luck situation, a fluke. You pulled
Monza.
a rabbit.
Yeah.
Out of the bag.
Whereas this one is definitely more of an intention where there's an opportunity to pit. They decide,
which is the norm.
We'll stay out.
Yeah, I mean they could have pitted, and they don't have the outright pace of the Merc, so they went the alternate strategy and got the win.
Well, I guess the norm is you would pit. If you were going to split it, would be you'd pit one driver to sort of cover off that strategy, the safe strategy, and then throw the dice at the other driver, but they didn't pit either.
Because that's the thing, you look at the way that race played out, even though Hamilton had pitted, which is a sacrificing move, he was already second when he pitted.
Yeah.
He ranged right back up to Kimi. So straight away, nullifies that stop, no damage done, except now he's on the better tyre, and they both have to pit again, or they don't. But that was what, won it, is Ferrari. Like I said, Kimi had to hold him off for those 2 laps to not let him. If he let him pass and he gets 8 seconds up the road and Kimi pits, it's a different story. So Kimi, as the race driver, still has a hand to play.
Yeah.
But the strat is what ultimately,
put them in the winning
had to
position.
exactly right. He had to do the job for the strat to pay off. So
it's a good example of how strategy can be a highlight of Formula One, and it's something that we're often robbed of these days, especially with tyres hanging on too long, and then
they just don't degrade or they don't fall off nowadays.
They don't hit that cliff like they used to. They're so hard. And then obviously the lack of racing in wet weather, so then that also means the lack of incidents too, which then opens up the opportunity. So there's 2 things that we don't see really this season, particularly the 2025 season. We've sort of not had really much of that at all.
Yeah.
So it's a nice insight to what Formula One can be and how it can really shake things up.
Yeah.
If it's allowed.
I mean, that's what they need. Like, they need the way you unlock the strat is have the tyres balanced perfectly where you could make a one-stop work or you can make a two-stop work. And
that was that era, right?
Yeah.
That era was famous for, like, you didn't know who was one-stopping or two-stopping, but you knew there was going to be a good mix along the grid.
And if you're second and all right, the car ahead's, all right, they've come in, they have to be going for a tour, you alternate your strategy. You go, all right, we're just going to stick to the one because if you're not, like, if you're just following the car, you're not going to, you got to do something different.
Yeah.
You know?
So then, just a fleeting thought on that. Obviously, with the fastest lap now, there's no incentive to pit to get new tyres to try and get that extra point.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe played a bigger role than people thought it did? That incentive of, like, you know, let's go for a two-stopper to have better tyres at the app to try and snag that extra point as well? Or do you think that's...
I don't remember how many teams sort of went with that because so many... We saw it. How many times and it still happens where a driver will be fourth and they'll have a pit window to fifth, and now they're not taking the pit stop because there's no point.
Yeah.
But those same gaps existed back then. And even if it was not a point to get...
I wouldn't say I'm talking about those, like, free pit stops, so to speak, but more in a championship battle. So, like, if we were to... let's talk about Lando, Oscar right now, how close it is where every point sort of matters. If there's an option there to... Hey, let's change our pit strategy. Let's get better tyres. And at worst case scenario, we can still snag an extra point off them, you know, because we're going to finish second anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, true. It depends on the risk involved. Like, because you could do that, get the fastest lap, and then a Daniel Ricciardo comes along and pits for other points and takes it.
Yeah.
And that's all. I swear that happens so often where a driver would pit just to get the fastest lap.
Yeah.
You know, a random driver in seventh might be like, we got a free stop, even though they're in the championship battle, it means nothing to them, but they can get a fast lap and a point.
Yeah.
Why not? And they'll go, and then another car, if they don't leave it to the last lap, another car might do it ahead of them. And so I don't think it'd make a big difference on strat because that was always the danger, is another car will just do it for fun and then ruin your strat when you might have had a alternate strategy that would have been quicker. You might have still been second, but it unlocks a bit more pace in the race.
Yeah. Maybe they should incentivize the fastest lap as, like, 3 points.
Yeah, go the other way.
Yeah,
go hard.
Like, really make, like, it worthwhile for a driver to take the risk of, like, you know, play the strategy game and then, you know, can we snag the 3 points? So if you're finishing second, but you can snag that fastest lap and then you reduce your point loss from 7 to 4.
Yeah,
imagine how interesting that would be.
It would be interesting. I mean, I know. Yeah, we've said I'm a thinker. You're a thinker.
FIA.
You need a spot on the FIA.
Hi me. I'm an ideas man.
I know they said, you know, Ricciardo was a big reason why they pulled the fastest lap point.
Yeah.
But at the start of the year, I think it was Brundle. He actually said as well they pulled it because points are worth money in Formula 1.
Well, 100%.
Per point. Like, you get $1 amount per point. So that was another reason they stopped attending them out. You know, you save that bit of extra money for teams who don't necessarily deserve it.
Yeah.
So if anything, put $0 attached to the points you get for a fastest lap. So if McLaren go ahead and get 14 fastest laps this point, and if a point's worth $100,000, you take 700, you know, whatever. I just made that really hard. Say 10, $1 million. Take it off their pay amount at the end of the year. And so if that was the reason they deleted the fastest lap point, paying
you could
a
cover
point.
that.
Yeah, so you take that away. So teams are fighting for the point for how it'll affect their championship outcome.
Yeah,
not necessarily for the point that pays money. You know.
Plus, as punters, wouldn't it be great to be able to have a punt on, like, who do we reckon could get fastest lap this race?
It'd be nice if the market's open at all.
Yeah.
Besides a winner,
but, like, I mean, you know, not having it basically means it's not even, it doesn't exist, right?
Exactly.
So, so Ferrari then, do you think? I mean, it obviously you touched on how iconic they are, and they are iconic to Formula 1. They've been there since the start. But it's been 17 years since their last constructors or drivers. Which one was it?
Yeah.
Constructors. Yep. And then 18 since their last drivers.
Yeah.
That is a long time for an iconic team
to go.
You know, that goes up there with, like, I know you don't watch baseball, but, like, the Yankees haven't won one in forever, and it's like, well, the Yankees always win. But then when you look at it and you're like, well,
exactly,
they haven't won for
you're
a long time.
Right, yeah.
It's that same sort of thing where you just all expect that, oh yeah, they only won a couple years ago.
Yeah,
it's almost unbelievable. And I know that they've had to endure the Mercedes era and the Red Bull era, just like every other team. But you think a team that has so much experience, so much history, so much, like they have the legacy payment.
Yeah.
They have like...
They got the benefits.
Yeah, they have so many benefits. How have they not been able to figure it out? And then you can even extend that to the drivers that they've had go through that team.
Yeah.
You talk about that year, Vettel and Raikkonen. You think, how are they not winning constructors at least? With two big names in a team like that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially because Ferrari were competitive. Vettel was somewhat fighting for the championship most of those years he was there.
They're still ticking off wins.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually shocked. I watched those years, but I would have thought Raikkonen won more races in a second stint. That blew me away. When I went through his win tally, I'm like, that was it. That was his one win for that second stint. I'm like, I thought he got a few.
That was his one and only.
That was his one and only for that second stint. And the first stint, he was only there for 2 years. His first stint at Ferrari.
Yeah, and he won it in the second year before he dipped out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So very, very strange, Like just doing this bit of research, I'm like, I would have thought he had a lot longer in total period of time with Ferrari, but didn't have that long. And that second stint, when the car was quite competitive, only the one win. Yeah, you think of like a Perez, you managed to pick up some wins in a Red Bull. That's kind of what my memory was telling me. Raikkonen did at Ferrari. Got the second stint there. Was clearly the second driver, just age and whatnot. But he picked up the win every now and then. But no, just the one.
Yeah,
just the one win.
Yeah, that's surprising.
He was already Sauber bound at that point. He'd already been moved on.
Yeah,
3 races left in the season, or 4 at that point.
So he's lucky that he even collected that.
Yeah, and he earned it. You watch that race and you go, how did he not win races prior? He clearly had the pace. He qualified it in second. And he had the racecraft and the pace to hold Hamilton back.
Yep.
He looks a shoo-in for more race wins than that,
Almost ironic, isn't it? Just as you leave, it seems like maybe things are starting to click.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you kind of saw that with Sainz even. Sainz as of right now is still Ferrari's last race winner. and we're almost through the entire 2025 season.
And who knows how long that goes on for. I'm sure no one thought Raikkonen would be the last world champion.
Yeah. And that's...
in 2007.
Yeah. So what do you think they need to do to turn it around? Like, it's hard to say where things are falling apart, but last year it looked like they had a lot of momentum and they were legitimately fighting for the constructors and they almost snagged it.
Well,
to now, massive drop-off this year. So,
this is the interesting thing. We talked about Christian Horner last week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, but he's been linked to Ferrari.
I know, yeah,
and that was
a lot
my
of noise.
pick.
Yeah,
that was my pick. That's what I said. I said he needs Ferrari need him.
Well, the problem is they've just signed Vasseur to another 2 years. So I know
Christian himself was under contract, right?
Yeah, I know contracts can just be whatever.
And Ferrari, you just said legacy payment. They'll pay him whatever.
But it boggles my mind. Like, we saw it with Red Bull. Red Bull hand Perez. Here's a big giant contract.
Yeah.
Good job. We'll see you here for the next 2 years. And then it was like 6 months later, it was like, yeah, you're out.
But even that, people are like, why are you signing him? All the talk and speculation was he's gone. Instead, you re-signed him just to renege on it. Yeah, it's very strange.
So it just seems like, is that if Ferrari really going down that same path, are you just throwing away money? Like, you're just going to pay Vasseur out and get Christian in? Or is this, a thing?
Whoever would have thought Christian Horner would become available?
Well, that's true.
At any point.
I mean, we spoke just last week about, I believe any team that gets him, despite whatever, controversies surround him, any team that gets him is immediately better with him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many teams on the grid right now that don't know what it takes to win and don't know what they need to do to win.
Ferrari are included.
Ferrari included, 100%. Yeah. So they would, they clearly have the money, they have the resources. You look at their driver lineup, you pair that with a Christian Horner, it's like, how can they not succeed?
Yeah. I mean, my thing is...
So is that the key? Is that the key to them turning things around? I think he
would be a starting point. You probably can't name me Ferrari's engineers, Ferrari's car designers.
Yeah.
They don't have big names in the team. I'm not saying you need big names, but big names, the names for a reason. Adrian Newey for a reason.
Andreas. Stella.
Sure. Like,
sorry, did I say a bad word?
Max's engineer, I can't think of his name right now, Jean-Pierre, whatever.
Yeah.
These people's names for a reason. Because they leave...
As you're showing.
A mark.
Part of their name.
On the team, on the sport.
Yeah.
Besides Fred Vasseur, And even him, you didn't know him before. Like, you know him, and again, it's the icon, in the wrong way. You know him because of his lack of what he's done at Ferrari.
Yeah.
And every Ferrari, you could name most of the Ferrari people in that role for the last 10 years, all for failing to do the job and being cycled out. Mattia Binotto is one of them.
Yeah.
So,
look, I think as much as you hate Drive to Survive, it does give you a good insight into the behind the scenes of Formula One, which we're not really privy to much. And one of the things that sort of occurs over those seasons is Christian v Toto. That was a fierce rivalry, both in front and behind cameras, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's just what Ferrari need. They need someone who can light a fire under the team and back their guy and and poke people and prod people and get responses from people. Corner's that guy. I don't think Vasseur is.
No.
And someone
there's obviously going to be people in Ferrari in the background that have been there for probably too long as well, that we don't know of. They may not have the title next to their name to be able to pull weight. But there's going to be people in Ferrari, the team that's been there for 75 years, the team that was led by Enzo, one of the biggest figures ever, that feel that they would have a say in the team.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking iconic motorsport people. Yeah. And especially, obviously, F1. He's right up the very top, right? He's in the top 5, easy. So, it is interesting when there is this legacy and this prestige that surrounds a team that it's just kind of, I mean, you could sort of say Williams sort of suffered that. Williams at one point were very iconic to the sport and enjoyed quite a lot of success and had some of the most iconic drivers drive for them.
Yeah.
And then they just fell off. And now you look at them, there is no prestige that surrounds that team. And they've been a laughing stock for a long time. And Ferrari could very easily slip down to those levels if they're not careful.
I mean, if Ferrari weren't red, they might be there.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah, they're the Red Williams.
Truly. If they went full blue, all of a sudden you lose that visual appeal of, that's Ferrari.
Yeah.
If they let their sponsors dictate the entire car the way Williams do, and you lose the visual iconness of Ferrari, they might be a Williams.
Yeah.
But you look at the car and it's Ferrari, It's been that way since they were yellow right back in the days. They've been red.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's true. That's probably helped keep them relevant. But you think about the sport right now where it's at, and obviously we've got the rule changes coming, but it's super competitive. And there's a lot of teams that feel like they are on the up. And when you've got so many teams on the up, that means there's teams on the down. And Ferrari certainly seem they're on the down this year. Yeah. Now, they haven't slipped to the depths of Aston Martin or Haas or whatever.
They're still a regular point scorer.
But if they're not careful and if they don't change culture and change their winning ways, we might see someone like James Vowles, who knows how to win because he was Toto's right-hand man, bring what he knows to Williams and bring that team up. And we could see them win a Constructors or a Drivers' Championship before Ferrari. Yeah. Could you imagine that?
I'd actually have money on that, to be fair.
Yeah.
With those two drivers in that car, I mean, regulation change is always a shake-up. There's no promises. Sauber could come in without his backing and money and support and just turn the whole championship on its head.
Yeah.
That could happen.
Yeah.
I think the key is honestly Horner. I mean, they've pulled Vasseur so you
put money on it? If Ferrari want to turn their team around,
if they got Christian Horner, we would see a change,
an upswing rather than
I think he's got the
slide
pull
down the slope.
He's got the pull that if he went in there, he's got the pull and the confidence and the know-how and the backing and the trust that he could. Like I said, the people in the team have been there long enough that think they've got to say he could, put it over them and say, no, this is either way what you're doing or you're leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he does have that sort of cut and dry mentality, doesn't he?
Yeah. And again, like you said, he knows how to win. He knows what it takes. He'd be able to see an engineer and be like, I've just worked with some of the best engineers. I've just worked with the best car designer in Formula 1 history.
Yeah.
And a, marginally okay driver talent scout.
Well, Red Bull have always operated in a no-nonsense matter of way. Ferrari are very nonchalant. So if he brought that same cutthroatness to Ferrari, where it's like you either deliver or you're out, and we're going to find someone who can, whether it's a driver, an engineer, or a mechanic or whatever, those are the things that you kind of have to have implemented to bring a winning culture.
Yeah.
It's such a fiercely competitive category.
Yeah. You look at Fred Vasseur, came from Sauber. Mattia Bonotto, I don't know where he come from. The guy before him, I don't know where he come from. Like all these people, since Ross Brawn, all the people who've run that team, where have they come from? They're not bringing in...
Do they know how to win?
The team is appealing for drivers, clearly. They have no problems picking up the biggest talents on the grid from other teams and poaching them.
Yeah.
They need to find a way, and Christian Horner's probably their first real chance to find a way to get someone in that team who knows what they're doing. And people recognize him and trust him and will give him time. Because if he goes there, he's not going to turn around overnight.
No,
He'll go there. It might take 2 years for him to get the right people. Because that's what Formula 1 is. It's all about the people who can design the car, who can build the car at 100%.
Well, we're seeing that with Laurent Mekies right now, where he still refuses to take any ownership of Red Bull kind of changing their ways since mid-season. He still has pretty much said, I've had nothing to do with the current upgrades and, the turnaround. Yeah. And I respect that he's done that, So, you're right. Like, changes that are implemented now, we don't see until 6 months to a year down the track. Yeah. So it would be the same thing with Ferrari. It wouldn't be an overnight turnover. Yeah. But it is interesting when you start to hear things like Charles Leclerc's managers shopping him around. Like they're obviously not liking what they're seeing in Ferrari, and his window of, his peak window basically is closing fast. He's now a driver that's been around for a while. He's one of the older heads now. He's not
rookie in 2018.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So he's year 7, year 8.
So he's in that window right now where you're in your prime. Yeah. So now where can you be matched up with a car? And again, that takes an adjustment. So if he was to go to say like a Red Bull or a Mercedes, he's going to have to adjust to that car, and it's going to take a little bit to get his head around before he's then back to a competitive level. So it would be in his interest to stay with Ferrari, a car that he's well accustomed to and a culture he's well accustomed to, but have someone like a Horner come in and drive the team upwards with him in it. Yeah. And then you're aided by a 7-time world champion in the seat next to him as well.
Imagine that, Christian and Lewis working together.
What's that, like 12 world championships or something between them? Yeah. Maybe I've overestimated. But
we'll do some quick maths. It worked for us so well last time.
Yeah. You wouldn't bet against it, So I think you're right. What about, obviously, the other thing that's kind of floating around is, all the bullshit that's going on in McLaren.
It's 15 titles.
15 titles
between them. Yeah.
Wow. Take your time working that one out.
Maths. Well, I had to really be sure. Didn't work last time. Anyway,
so we're seeing all the bullshit with McLaren right now, and we're hearing now that Piastri might not want to be there forever. Mm-hmm. Would you like to see someone like Oscar Piastri in Ferrari?
We'll see how the regs go. The reg changes go.
If the car's good, yes.
Yeah.
If the car's not good,
put him in the best car on the grid. The thing is, it's best to know your enemy. He might be in a shit situation, and we might all hate it, but he's in the best car. If he can find a way to get McLaren on his side, however that is, or I'd love him to leave McLaren if Ferrari were better, because I just want to see him win. Yeah. It's not like, I don't want to see, I'm scared he's going to have the same trajectory as Ricciardo. Red Bull aren't treating him very well, or the car's clearly something going on. 2018, 7 DNFs, come on. All power engine related, what a joke. Yeah. Okay, he's going to Renault, all right, we'll see what happens. No, bang.
Everything then changes.
Bad. Yeah. Very bad. Very bad after that. Yeah. So he knew his enemy at Red Bull. He could have stayed. He could have earned money. He could have collected some race wins. Potentially lost to Max due to their age differential overlapping, or the team, hate to say it, but
if you're not in it, you can't win it. And I think someone like Rosberg has proven that. Everything might be from Lewis. Yeah, everything might be against you, but if you hang tough and you hang in it and you take out those opportunities, you might just be able to snag one. Yeah. And guess what he did? He snagged one. And then he hung up the helmet.
That was enough for me.
That was tense. I don't know if I can do that again.
I've done more than most people in this world. I'm done. Yeah. Like I just want to see him in a competitive car. It's hard to if he lost this on his own merit, or whatever. That's one thing. To watch it go down the way it's been going down is hard. It's very hard. But at least every qualifying session, I go, he could get popped. Every race, I go, he could win this race. He is within a chance every race he goes to at the moment.
Yeah. I mean,
you cannot say that if he goes to Ferrari.
That's true. You make a good point. I mean, obviously with the new regs, that does throw a spanner in the works. But, I didn't know if I wanted to mention the McLaren word because this often can just drive us straight down a rabbit
this
podcast,
hole. So I'm enjoying this episode.
Yeah, okay. Well, we do it for you. I'm here for you. You're, we're here for ourselves.
Yeah.
Everyone else can just,
whatever you want to do.
Come and enjoy in the passion.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I was going to say is we often go down a rabbit hole here, and we probably are going to go down a rabbit hole on a Ferrari-based episode, but. What I was going to say is the situation in McLaren, you're right, it is the best car. I think we can, even though the team seems very much anti-Oscar right now, and we might see that change now that they've wrapped up the constructors, and I have been very surprised at how much public outcry in support of Piastri there is. Mm-hmm. These things can often go sort of 50-50. Lando's obviously a big personality, so he has a lot of support as well. But it has been very overwhelming in Oscar's favour that he has been treated unfairly. And I think that shows that fans aren't stupid. No. Even if you're just starting to get into Formula One, you can see what McLaren have done here, right?
Yeah.
But stats don't lie. And he still has more wins. He still has a point lead in the championship. And he's been in Formula One less than half the amount of time than Norris.
Way less.
His trajectory up has been huge. It's easy to sit here and say, yeah, but he's got the best car. But he's beating his teammate in the best car. A teammate who's been in Formula One for 7 years.
Not just his teammate, the other 400 people at the factory.
That's true. And then you got to consider things like the car is only part of it. The other part is track knowledge. It is confidence. It is understanding the tyres.
Yeah.
There's so many elements to putting everything together. And Piastri's done that this year. So, I think if he was to go over to Ferrari, I think he's already proved that he can do it if he has the car. Whether Ferrari could deliver him the car, whether he could be patient enough to see it all click, because as we know, as we just said, sometimes these things can take a year or two. Mm-hmm. I think he could be the guy to bring Ferrari glory, and I personally would love to see that. That would be a great story to follow.
Sure.
Imagine if he smacks one out with McLaren right now and then gives them the finger and says, you can have your team, see you later.
Yeah.
And then goes and brings some glory to Ferrari. Could be the greatest of all time.
Don't get me excited. Don't get me excited.
No one else has been able to do that. So I would like to, I'm just saying, I would like to,
I just want to see Oscar win. I've said it. This will be the third time. McLaren used to be my team. Can't stand him now. I just want him to win. If he wins with McLaren, if he wins with Ferrari, if he wins with Red Bull, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to see him win. Because I said, it's nice to turn on the TV every week and have an understanding that he has more of a chance than anyone to win. He's got it over Norris without any team, bias.
Shenanigans.
Exactly. That's the best word for it.
Yeah.
He has it over Norris. I saw a stat this week. Oscar Piastri is the only driver on the grid with a positive head-to-head qualifying against Max.
Yeah, wow. Wow, that's
10 to 8.
I mean, people will cry out car, but still
Max
you got to do it right.
Out-qualified Lando Norris more times than Norris out-qualified.
Stats don't lie. Don't lie.
He's got the same car. And qualifying, we've seen, qualifying is where your pure pace is seen. Mm-hmm. And Oscar has out-qualified the entire grid more times than not.
Yeah.
Out-qualified his teammate head-to-head, out-qualified Max Verstappen, who's been, without the dominant car, the dominant qualifier. So, yes, McLaren have, for up until this point, most of the time had the car. He's done the job over Lando more times than not.
Yeah.
And then the race is where you see the bullshit. We saw qualifying is hard to manipulate results. You know, they've said a couple of times, yep, Oscar had to tow Lando in one of the races to get him through Q2. Mm-hmm. That's how dire things were for Lando at some
Monza
point.
as well. Yep.
Yeah. And then, but the race is where McLaren really get to cook up a result.
Yeah, that's where they get to cook.
And that's where they do it.
Yeah.
You know? And that's why you have to look qualifying for where these drivers are performing. And Oscar has absolutely a leg up on Lando.
All right, well, so we don't go too far down this route.
Next week's coming quick.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah. We'll swing it back to 2018. So where does Kimi stand for you as a driver in F1 stature? You know, is he one of the best to ever do it?
Not one of the best to ever do it, but he might be like I don't know, it's tough. Like, I don't know if he was in McLaren, but he was not in the best McLaren. He went to Ferrari and he got a title. And yeah, he was a little bit lucky. The McLarens that were in that car, Alonso and Hamilton, pissed it away. So a bit of luck, but you need that.
And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I did see a thing about how, you know, you might think it's impossible for Max to win the 2025 season with up against the two McLarens. But that situation right there that you mentioned is exactly that.
Yeah.
Where he came from behind because the two McLarens were taking points off each other and playing silly buggers. And he came behind and snatched the Drivers' Championship from under their noses.
Exactly.
So
and this is what possible. Can happen. And it's happened before. It can happen again.
Yeah.
So with that in mind...
And now, that there has been contact that McLaren have waved off and said, yeah, that's fine, and the gloves are off.
Yeah. And that's the dangerous
Piastri can have 16 Fs here on out, along with Lando, and still... and you know... let Max come through,
exactly,
and steal it. So
that's
they've got to be
dangerous
careful.
precedent they've set. You don't think Oscar is going to understand that? Be like, you've reset the racing rules now. You've said we can make contact.
Yeah,
you've
done this with pit stops.
Yeah,
and now you've done this with passes.
Yeah,
so that
contact is now allowed.
We're running out of things.
It's you've got me on the wrong track again.
Sorry, 2018
Kimi. He's. I reckon he could have been one of the best. I reckon if he maybe applied himself more. That might sound crazy, but...
in the sense that, like, he shouldn't have left Formula One?
Well, yeah. I mean, we know he's naturally talented as hell.
And sorry, when I say left Formula One, to go do rally a couple
exactly.
of seasons.
He just
in the
got
middle
fed
of his
up with
career.
the team and was like, you know, I'm going to do this. Comes back for Lotus and then sticks around. But, you know, you see his attitude off track and you can't help but think he's probably not the driver who was spending his... midweek before the weekend, watching footage in the sim, crunching data.
Yeah,
I just can't imagine.
He doesn't give off that vibe, does he?
I could be wrong. Kimmy, reach out. Reach out if we're wrong. It's fine.
Can you confirm or deny?
You just don't strike me as the bloke who's doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, you just imagine he could have just gone a little bit...
What was you saying last week? I just show up with piss excellence.
That's what he does.
Like Kimmy.
Yeah. He came, he got 21
just
race
raw
wins.
natural talent.
And he got a championship. You can't... And he had fun along the way.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Now, as far as natural talent, he'd be up there. I mean, we did 2003 Brazil, and all the commentators, it was the second year in the sport, all the commentators could do was just rave about how skillful he was in that race, especially in the wet, dreadful conditions, how he just was driving around other cars like they were standing still. How well that second year driver performed up against his teammate, Coulthard, whatever, but that was an experienced Coulthard, you know. He just ran rings around him.
Yeah.
And then Lotus, you know, that was probably the highlight of his career, in my opinion. Despite his wins, despite racing for Ferrari and the championships, that was like, I was watching the spot at that time when he came back.
Yeah.
Car looked great. We got a lot of his famous radio calls at that time. He was winning races. It was just...
Is he a driver that you think should have won more championships?
Probably. Yeah. If
like
he didn't leave,
maybe at least a 2-time, maybe a 3-time champ.
I mean, you don't know where he goes, right? I mean, he left in 07, was his final year. He left as the champ.
Yeah.
Comes back like 5 years later to Lotus. So it's interesting to see what would have happened in that time. Naturally, if he stays at Ferrari...
his career almost mirrors for modern Ferrari, where you kind of think or expect him to have more than what he actually does.
Yeah,
and then
that
you're
was my
almost
reaction,
surprised.
exactly.
Yeah.
Only 21 wins, and I'm like, you know, how many does Oscar have now? Half of that, effectively, in 3 years, you know. So you do get... I was 21, like, that seems quite low for what I think of Kimi Raikkonen. But like I said, I feel like he's more of a character or a beloved character less for his on-track stuff, more for his off-track shenanigans.
Yeah, 100%.
Quotes,
He's
comments,
in that same
interviews.
class as like the James Hunts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you love to hear his interviews. Like, I could stay up all night just watching Kimi Raikkonen press conferences, interviews.
Whoa. I don't want to know what you do on your alone time.
Well, good. Don't ask again.
Well, I did. That's my point. Keep it to yourself,
here I am
buddy.
sharing.
Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
It's at 11 o'clock at night. Watching Kimi vids on your phone under the covers.
Yeah. All by myself. All my lonesome.
Okay, so then I'll pivot real quick to Texas as a track. What are your thoughts on it? Do you like it? I mean, how long has that been on the calendar for now?
2012 was the first year.
Yeah, wow. So it's starting to get up there.
2013, I reckon, actually.
Yeah.
2012, 2013.
Numbers, words, spelling. Never been your strong points. Yeah.
2012, 2013. How's that sound? But I reckon 2013. That's what I reckon.
Okay.
Crystal Factory.
I think it's a good track. Do you think it deserves a spot in the calendar? Because we did have the talking point about we've got 3 American tracks on now. You got Vegas, you got Miami, and you got Texas.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is
Texas the best of the 3?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, they designed that track. They did rip off some of the highlights of other tracks. The S's at the start, that's Maggots and Beckett's from Silverstone, which is just a little bit harsh.
Well, that and is it Bahrain? They all have the sweeping S's. It seems to be.
Yeah. And then the triple right-hander, they ripped that off Turkey.
Yeah.
And that's open. That's out there. They admitted it. But what a way to build a track. Why not get the best of all these sort of tracks and just cram them into one?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of how Tarantino makes movies. Let's just take all the best scenes from all my favorite movies and cram it into one, and bang, we've got a new thing.
And it's great because it's got the best of everything. Yeah. I mean, it's got undulation. That turn 1, that skyrockets in the air. They've got some cool features. The 360 viewing platform in the last sector.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. You go up there, you wouldn't spend long up there. You
look at the Ferris wheel in the middle of the track too. You don't often see those in the middle of the circuit. So
no, the only issue is the runoff. Being a modern Formula 1 circuit, it's full of runoff. Yeah, but other than that, the actual track layout, the undulation, it provides good racing. We saw this race, lots of crisscross maneuvers, lots of attempts around the outside, that sort of stuff. The track is conducive to good racing.
Yeah,
but all the runoff just means the drivers don't have to pay for their mistakes.
Yeah.
So that's
and we don't like that. That's a big no-no.
You need to pay for your mistakes. You make a mistake, you fucking pay for it. That's a rule.
Especially when you refuse to bring out safety cars and wet tires.
Yeah.
At least.
I mean, this race
hold the drivers accountable to their racing standards.
Exactly. Yeah. This race only had. The lap one. There was 2 separate incidents on lap 1. No safety cars because all cars just spun to the runoff and they could make their way back.
Yeah.
And then the only it was a VSC because Ricciardo's car expired. Yeah. There was plenty of incidents, perhaps, but nothing that required a safety car or any action or cars simply getting stuck in the gravel would do nice.
Yeah.
It's an entertainment sport at the end of the day. That's what Formula 1 need to remember.
Yeah.
Utilize the safety car because safety cars create action. They compress the field and they make racing happen. That's all we want.
Well, I'm looking forward to this weekend. So let's wrap it up. So what have we learned? We've learned that Kimi Raikkonen is a legend.
He's F1 a legend. Yep. He should have tried harder.
He should have tried harder.
Heard it here first.
Maybe more famous for his off-track antics than his on-track antics.
Yeah.
Coda, Texas, gets a tick in our book.
Yep. Good track.
Can stay on the calendar. Keep it on there.
Needs more grass and gravel.
Well, the reason I sort of throw that question out to you is because obviously we're moving into an era now where we're starting to see some old tracks cycle off the calendar or be one off, one on with
cycle
other
down.
tracks, like Spa. Now, the Spa thing, that hurts my heart. But then, again, how many times does it rain at Spa and then they just refuse to race anyway? So then there is that thing of if you're not going to race there, then fine.
It's a buy round at this point.
Yeah. So
I want you to say something clickbaity. We need the clicks. Say something catchy.
We just want to come out with some clickbait.
Right now, just say something that we can clip
out of context.
Yeah.
No.
Give me some clickbait.
Well, no, hang on. I'm going through my what have we learned?
Right, sorry.
So Coda is a big tick in our book.
Yeah.
Piastri could bring glory to Ferrari if he does make a future change.
Yeah.
But we want to see him take it in McLaren first.
Yeah.
And Ferrari should hire Christian Horner. Absolutely. If they want to be successful over the next X amount of years.
Ever again. Hire him.
Yeah. Get on Horner.
I was just stoked to see the report because I'm like, hey, here I am preempting the news.
Yeah.
You know, I said it here last week. Go back and check the files.
Yeah. So you want something clickbaity. Timmy from Box Banter.
Yep.
He calls it like how he sees it, and he's often right.
Yep. Christian Horner to Ferrari. Confirmed.
Confirmed. All right, there you go. So, breaking news on the podcast.
While we're recording, believe it or not.
Yeah. Ferrari are going to get Horner, and he's going to help them win another title.
Now, would you take it a step further, and is Oscar going to Ferrari? Are you willing to call it?
Oh.
I mean, what I read was a straight swap with Leclerc. No contract buyouts, nothing silly.
Yeah, that seems like where's this
Leclerc
coming from?
Well, I don't know. It's probably the dailymail.uk.
Yeah, no, not even that. Some dipshit in his basement has just gone, oh, you know what they should do? And then just throwing that out there.
Piastri's got to be so fed up at McLaren. If they said to him, hey, do you want to go to Ferrari? He's probably like, yeah, okay. And then Leclerc is probably so fed up with Ferrari because of, you know, not teammate-related bullshit, performance-related bullshit. The anxiety he must feel every single day. If they said, hey, look at Papaya over there. You want to, look at that.
They've got the opposite problems, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, Charles doesn't have the car and Oscar doesn't have the team. So they're like, maybe a straight swap is the way to go.
I mean, both of them are probably like thinking at night, like, you know what? They probably saw the report and said, I haven't heard of this, but I like it. They're probably talking to each other like, hey, would you be up for this?
They're on the phone with their manager. Hey, Mark.
No. Oscar's talking directly to Charles and telling him white lies, and Charles is telling him white lies back about how good Ferrari is, and they're just trying to convince the other to make the move.
Yeah,
that's what's going on.
Look,
if Oscar right now, if they did a swap right now, I've got faith in Oscar that in that Ferrari with 3 races to go, he'd have a better chance at wrapping this thing up.
Yeah, well, the way McLaren have been carrying on this year, all right, well, I guess when I first saw the reports, my first instinct was like, no, Ferrari is a career killer. Don't do it. Please, no. As much as I'd love to see him in red and away from McLaren and in red and, you know, have the potential to do what no one else has been able to do and bring back a championship to them.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. If that happens, I wouldn't be gutted, I don't think. But there is a thing inside me that I'm like, not in the state that the team is. If the team did get someone like a Horner and they actually started to take themselves a bit more seriously with their engineers and their racecraft and, you know, developing the car correctly. And like we've seen, they got double DQ'd once this season.
I was going to add that in the thing, but I'm like,
get rid of these silly mistakes. Then I'd feel pretty comfortable of him in a Ferrari. But at this stage, you know.
Know your enemy.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Know your enemy.
And he knows his enemy very well.
Well, he's been able to handle him too. So
he's limiting the damage is sadly what this, and that's sadly what this has turned into now, is can Oscar mitigate the damage enough to just cross the line at Abu Dhabi?
I'm going to stop you there before you go on to too much of a rant. These retro rounds, they're good fun. Thanks for crafting up another solid one.
No worries. Glad to do it.
And we'll be back next week with Texas
25 this time. Yep.
We'll see where things stand in McLaren.
We'll see how it goes.
All right. GG's.
All right. See you there.
Bye.